Hi, welcome back to Musings of a Jesus Lover. Today we're musing about relentlessness. There is this image of God that's painted for us in the Bible of his absolute, unswerving, relentless pursuit of human beings. His love is described as fiery. He himself is described as an all-consuming fire. His love and his desire for human beings is beyond description in regular earthly English words. But it's what drives all the activity of heaven is the pursuit of human beings. Ultimately, we are described as a bride for the king being Jesus. That's the value that he portrays in us. But that's a different subject. We'll touch on that later. But today it's about that relentless pursuit that drives that. Have you ever loved something and simply had to have it, and you saved your money in order to get it, or perhaps it was a man or a woman and you simply pursued them, just unrelenting. You just had to have that. Well, that's how God feels about you. It's how he feels about me. It's how he feels about every human ever born or ever will be born. The unique thing about it, the reason I think he's so relentless, is that he will come after you, chasing you, looking for you to say yes to him. And he will do it no matter how many times we kick him right square in the teeth when he comes to us. That's relentless. If I come after something and it kicks me in the teeth a couple of times, I quit. Say, it's just not worth it. God doesn't have that in him. He only has that relentless pursuit. He will pursue you and me until our final breath. Whether we are in him, he's simply pursuing us to get more and more of us so he could give us more and more of him, or whether we're not with him, we haven't said yes to him, he's pursuing us to get that yes. It's basically a proposal is the best description, because our relationship with him is described primarily as a marriage and as a betrothal. He's asking, give me your life. I want to spend my life with you, and it's going to be really good for you. And there's that constant pursuit, and we kick him in the teeth time and time again. Look at the way people respond to faith so much these days in the political realm or wherever. There's this constant kicking in the teeth that God receives as he pursues us. But he's relentless. He is undeterred. He is humble. He is meek. He doesn't take that and say, well, if that's the way you're going to be, and just walk off. In fact, in his very first description of himself, which you'll find in Exodus chapter 34, he says, this is the first time he ever describes himself. He sets Moses in a rock. There's a whole story there we're not going to go into. And Moses is asked to see his glory and his goodness. And God passes before him, and for the first time ever, God talks about God. He had never described himself before. And his description is this: I am compassionate. I am gracious. I am slow to anger. I am abounding in loving kindness and faithfulness. Let me get the rest of it. I don't want to miss any of it. He keeps loving kindness for thousands, and he forgives iniquity, trespass, and sin. That's who he is. We're also told in the Bible that we love him because he first loved us. So he pursues us even when we're enemies. We're also told in the Bible that while we were yet enemies, Jesus died for us. We didn't say yes and he determined, yeah, okay, it's worth it. No, he died, the classic John 3:16, for God so loved the world, and yet most of the world rejects him. He doesn't care. He is undaunted by that. His fiery heart of love and desire for human beings drives him on. Kick him in the teeth, push him back, say no, throw eggs at him, do whatever you want. He will not leave. He is always there awaiting your yes, or if you're already in that relationship with him, awaiting the next step, the next stage. There's always more he wants to give you. It is a relentless pursuit. God is described as an all-consuming fire. At the end of chapter 12 of Hebrews, it's talking about his desire. And finally at the end it says he is an all-consuming fire. In the book of Song of Solomon at the end, we find a description of his love for us as being a seal on our hearts. You know how you seal something, or they would have in the ancient days, you'd seal something, we have the mark of the king in it, say, this is mine. And he seals us with a seal, but it's a seal of fire. And it's a seal that's described as a fire which cannot be quenched by floods or rivers. This is an unquenchable fire. This is what burns in the heart of the Creator for his creation. There's just no way to describe or understand the relentless pursuit that he has for human beings and how independent it is of our response. That pursuit does not and will not stop. He is absolutely relentless because he has set his desire on something he refuses to take, something he wants given to him. And he's laid open the invitation, and he's driving constantly to pursue and get more and more and more of us, because then we get more and more and more of him, and he knows that's a deal that we are going to love. Even if we don't get it now, we are ultimately going to love that arrangement. He's relentless. He never gives up. If you think he's finally had enough and you're such a sinner that he's just not going to pay any attention to you anymore, he's given up on you. Now, while we were sinners, he died for us. He forgave the men driving nails into his hand. You have not reached that point. There is no point at which God says, that's enough, that hurts too much, I'm not coming after you anymore. Jesus pursues you. It's the purpose for his becoming humanity. It's the whole purpose for the cross and his resurrection. It's the whole purpose of heaven and creation, is that he would have you as his bride. He's not giving up. So give up on him giving up, because that's just not going to happen.